Hey folks, welcome back to Banjo-Kazooie. One last thing to take care of before we head off to final showdown with Grunty. We have, well, actually two things to take care of. Both bonus things, both involving the Treasure Trove Co. Sandcastle. And Bottles holds the key. Actually, Waza holds the key, but Bottles is also instrumental to something. And, yeah, here's me not realizing how to activate the Bottles special minigame. You actually have to be standing on the rug, not the chair or anywhere else in the room. And I was hoping staring at it long enough would change things, but alas, no. You gotta be right here. So, the special Bottles minigame is the moving picture minigame, which is the puzzle minigame, which is just... it's a jigsaw puzzle. Except the picture is moving, like in Harry Potter. So you get, I'm not sure how it unlocks, how various stages unlock, depending on your progress in the game. I'm not very clear about that. But, once you've gotten to this point in the game, they're all available. And basically, they get harder as you go. Start out with pieces fairly close to where they need to be. You don't need to rotate them at all. And they get harder to where things are all over the place, and the images are a lot harder to sort out. Here, it's very easy. Now, I'm going to take this opportunity to use this as kind of a game retrospective thing that I've done for a lot of games. And by a lot of games, I mean a couple, and people apparently consider them a tradition by now, so yeah, Banjo-Kazooie Retrospective. And, well, a lot of this retrospective was probably me comparing it to how I remember it, and for one thing, I remember it being a lot harder, because I actually never 100%ed this game up until this playthrough, so, you know, that's not too bad. In this playthrough, I realized how kind of unintuitive some things are, mostly involving pooping eggs into things. I mean, why would eggs fix a leak in a bucket? I don't know. Why would you give eggs to a pot and have them spring flowers by a grave? I have no idea. Why would you fart them into a hole to make a plant? I don't know. But it's something that you just kind of learn. It's adventure game logic, and once you learn it, you always know it. And I think that's part of why I don't really like Tooie as much, is that I didn't grow up with it, and I don't have this, all the unintuitive things memorized. So it's like, yeah, it seems a lot stupider than it... Actually, I realize how stupid it is, whereas this, I already know what's up, and it doesn't seem as stupid. But, you know, it's still fun to play through once you know what's going on, N64 stuff aside. And again, that's kind of memorization stuff with, like, the draw distance, like I said, in Treasure Trove Cove, with that honeycomb piece. Draw distance, really annoying, and sometimes you'll miss things, and you just gotta go searching around. It's not the worst thing in the world, but back in the days when you wouldn't have internet, it could be a bit more of a butt. And, the N64 kind of holds it back in other ways as well, and I'd love to play the Xbox re-release if I had an Xbox. Just see how the higher resolution, better draw distance stuff makes things work better. Because, you know, there are things that the re-release wouldn't fix though, which is like the camera for one thing. The camera, not too great when swimming, when flying, and in a couple of various other places. You know, the controls, swimming and flying. I learned about the R button thing, which I actually didn't know before this, or had forgotten. And, you know, that helped to an extent, but the controls really haven't aged very well. And I'll admit that Tooie did improve the controls on basically everything. But then also implement new gameplay things that control like shit, so whatever. And in terms of like design and charm, there are things that they probably wouldn't get away with nowadays. Most notably, some of the suggestiveness in, like, I don't know, what am I trying to say here? There are things that Rareware kind of snuck in that kind of flew by the radar, because this was marketed as a kids game. I didn't really get that, and either North America wasn't looking for it when they were, or ESRB wasn't looking for it when they were looking over the game, or they just thought, the kids won't catch it. But like, kind of immaturity of Grunty, and apparently one of her favorite show things is doing a striptease, and I don't know how they snuck that in. I'm getting really sidetracked. What am I trying to say in this section? I don't know. It's still a very charming game, and I think, as stupid as some of the Gruntilda stuff is, that you have to learn from Gruntilda, how annoying it is to have to relearn in every playthrough, I mean. It adds a lot to the charm of the game, in that it creates this image for Grunty that she is really disgusting. And that's something that I think the sequel kind of screwed up on, is that Grunty is no longer anything, really. Without spoiling too much for Tui, I take away everything that made me like her, basically. And she also doesn't bug you at all. She's just kind of an arbitrary thing at the end of the game that says, yep, you're going after the witch, there she is, finally. Whereas in this game, she's constantly tormenting you, making puns and rhymes and various things, and you're constantly reminded that you're fighting against her, which I like. It's a good way to kind of atmospherize the game. This game just feels like it has more of a soul than Tui. I don't know. And again, I don't want to say too much about Tui without having, done the playthrough of it yet. But as of now, I still much prefer this game. Gameplay things aside, just in terms of characterization and designs and everything. And, yeah, basically everything. So here's where the puzzles get really hard, by the way. Not incredibly hard, but, everything looks the same right now. So you gotta start learning to judge based on the shapes and stuff like that. In terms of, actual levels themselves, how much fun I had, Flanker's Cavern and Rusty Bucket Bay were both really hard for me as a kid. Just because the industrial stuff kind of scared me. It wasn't pants-shittingly terrifying kind of stuff, but I didn't want to spend any longer in there than necessary. Whereas now, I don't know, I like Rusty Bucket Bay's music a lot, and that kind of made things better. Come on, get that piece right, thank you. And part of it is just me being a better gamer now, knowing everything, A, and B, not sucking at video games so much. Because, I mean, Rusty Bucket Bay, I just died out the wazoo whenever I was a kid. I never actually got more than, I don't know, 4 jiggies from it, just because I died a lot. And, now I'm a lot better, and I feel like I can appreciate the game more now, because I don't suck at it as much. Which is unfortunate, because this is very much a kid's game. It's one of those games that can be enjoyed by all ages, but, it's a kid's game, and no one's going to argue against that. And here, this puzzle here just seems really out of place. It's a lot easier than the previous one. And I don't mess with the time limit at all, so... Yeah, this probably should have been before, but whatever. How have my perceptions of the game changed from when I first played, other than, it's a lot easier now. I'm not so sure the Bubble Loop Swamp is my favorite level anymore. I mean, honestly, it's no better or worse than most other levels. I like all the levels now. Yeah, I was about to qualify that statement, but yeah, I do actually like all the levels. Probably Cluckwood the least, just because of that horrible note ordeal thing that I went through. But, you know, they're all fun. Rusty Bucket Bay, probably not so much. I really like the music, but because we already had the industrial stuff with Clanker's Cavern. I would probably side with Freezy Peak as my favorite level, but that may just because of the juxtaposition with Gobi's Valley, which is definitely my least favorite, because, I mean, it's A, I hate the desert, B, it's all the same color scheme all over the place, really boring to go around. I couldn't really say much in terms of design that bugs me about any of the levels, other than maybe the Quick Luck Wood being arbitrarily large, or artificially large rather, in that it's, you know, it just copy and paste the same area 4 times and changes the seasons, which I loved in Oracle of Seasons, but here it was just going through the same area 4 times. Which is, you know, it was still fun, but I don't see why you're laughing. Oh, fun, thing about this room, actually, I believe, I think this is the one. In one of them, in the original, in like the first version of the Xbox release, no, maybe it was the rest of it, I don't know. But, if you did this before going to the actual level, and Banjo collected notes in the painting, he would they would disappear from the level itself, because the re-release changed the TUI's note system. So it would be impossible to 100% the level. It was patched out, of course, but I don't know, funny, ridiculous, silly. So, I don't know, it's kind of fun now. Yeah, those notes up there. Looking back at Banjo kind of dicking around in the level, not doing much, because when you're playing this, you're focusing completely on, oh my god, gotta do this puzzle. But really, it's not so bad at all. Like, I would like to say for the record that I got all but the last one of these puzzles on my first try, which amazed me because I was fully expecting to have to be at this for hours, especially the later ones. They're certainly challenging. I run up against the time limit a couple times, but really the last one's the only hard one, because they kind of, well, I don't want to spoil it, but they make the time limit less, and yeah. Mad Monster Mansion, I like Mad Monster Mansion a lot. That was the level that kind of genuinely scared me as a kid. Like, not Clanker's Cavern kind of scared, but oh my god, ghosts, I'm scared. I don't like ghosts. I don't like dying. It's not a good thing. Kind of scared. Because I was a pansy as a kid, you might know. If you weren't aware of that, I was a total pansy as a kid. Anywho, Bottles tries to kind of fake you out here. This is supposedly the last one, but it's not. Ooh, it's not. You can look at it one more time. And has the best reward of all that I don't actually show in this video. I'm saving it for a certain special thing. But this is the puzzle that I would consider the hard one. And I don't know what Bottles was about to say. Because here, it's all yellow. It's just... you got 75 seconds as opposed to 100. And it's all yellow and everything is all mixed up and you need to rotate basically every piece. And, honestly, when I was doing this, I paid less attention to what the content of the puzzle piece, and more to its shape, because once you start doing this a lot, you notice that each shape corresponds either to a certain area of the puzzle. It's the same puzzle pieces every time, but it's, you know, it's a different picture and more rotations. So what you want to do is fill out the edges first, but yeah, corners are clearly the easiest. But you can recognize the shapes of the bottom row and the left column have the same shape. And the top row and the right. I mean, right. I'm not good at my hands, but the left column and the top row have the same shape. the bottom row and the right column have the same shape. So you just fill in those, and generally you won't waste too much time. And then you can just fill in the middle there, which can be kind of trial and error, but a lot of the time Banjo will be running around in the middle, so you can sort of figure it out. As you can see, I still kind of run up against the time limit, and this took me like 5 tries to figure out how to do it. But you get the rotations based on the shapes, and that is all. Bug Slurper. Wishy-Washy Banjo, I will be entering that, not in this video, but eventually. So, I'm off to go show those codes, and also show a couple more things that are a little more awesome.